welcome everybody today. We'll just get this moving. All right, Kathy, offices in Houston and Dallas. That makes sense. I'm sure you all, pretty much know why we're here today, and we're excited to dive into all things lien rights for those of you that are working in Texas. First of all, I would like to congratulate you guys on working in Texas with the most complex and hardest set of lien rights possible throughout the entire country. So I'm glad you all made it today. I'm guessing that you're here for a number of different reasons. Typically, you may already have a process in place for sending out lien rights paperwork. Of course, it's typically taking a ton of time and a ton of your resources away. So you might be looking for a better way to do this. Or you might just occasionally be sending out this paperwork and trying to kind of set something up a little more regular. In Texas, either of those ways are okay for managing lien rights, but of course can be pretty stressful and overall just straight up time consuming. So no matter why you guys are here today, one thing I can guarantee is that you're going to leave here today knowing exactly how you can take steps to manage these lien rights in Texas. Before moving forward, I do want to quickly again say that this is going to be recorded. So usually within about 24 hours, we'll have a recorded version of the webinar sent to your email that you registered with. And then, of course, if you have questions that I don't have time to address, I will follow up with you starting as soon as this wraps up today. Make sure to use that Q&A box so we can keep track of everything even after we end it. My name is Jeffrey Collins. I'm an account executive here at Level Set, and primarily my day-to-day is working with businesses like yours to help you get paid faster and not experience any payment problems along the way, and make sure that cash flow is not an issue for you and your business. Truly, the thing that I love the most about working at Level Set is exactly that, and really everything we're going to focus on today, and ultimately getting contractors and suppliers paid on their terms on every project. I would like to give a quick overview on Level Set for those of you who may not be too familiar, or this is your first webinar. Just so you can kind of understand a little better what we do and why we do it. So we all know that the construction industry presents all sorts of challenges, and even more challenges when it comes to getting paid. So Level Set is here to help you get paid and make sure that the process is efficient. So our lien rights management software really helps you not only to track your mechanics lien deadlines, but also suggests next steps and any notices that may be required along the way. We verify job site information and really ultimately make sure that managing your lien rights and paperwork is easy for your team and not adding any additional steps or processes to your workflow. Ultimately, so you can focus on areas like growing the business and not having to worry about cash flow, which of course can keep us all up at night from time to time. We also do provide access to construction attorneys and other legal services, and we do have all kinds of resources on the website, everything from contractor profiles outlining payment histories, educational resources, a lot of guides. So I would definitely suggest, spend a few minutes on the website when you have some time, and definitely dig around because there's plenty of information. And that about does it for my intro there. So I'll just hop in and get started. Really, the first thing that we should know about Texas lien law, again, is that it is extremely wild, very complex, and there's a whole lot of red tape around this stuff. First and foremost, don't be intimidated. Again, by the end of the webinar, you're going to be pretty well equipped with the tools and resources that you need to not have any stress about this stuff, and really just to get your lien rights in order. And really what we're going to be focusing on today is how to file a mechanics lien in Texas, what comes after that, and then also touch on a couple of frequently asked questions, and then I'll have some time to address any of your one-off questions or specifics about what you may be facing right now. So if you're going unpaid on a construction project, first of all, don't worry. You're clearly not alone. Slow payment is a major challenge for contractors all over the US, especially in Texas. Nationally, there's a 92% rate of contractors that don't get paid on their terms, which is mind-blowing. Nearly $1 billion every year goes unpaid on construction projects, and that's to contractors, subcontractors, suppliers. It's a mess. Typically, a mechanic's lien may be just what you need to help with that payment problem and to help escalate that payment where it needs to go, which is getting you a check. Before you fill out a mechanic's lien affidavit form in Texas, first of all, you're going to want to make sure that we're safe and clear to actually file one. This is going to be really important as Texas does have some pretty stressful lien laws and a set of requirements and prerequisites. So you want to consider a few things before you go filing a lien. Number one, is the work covered and protected by lien laws? This is pretty cut and dry in most cases, although there is some gray areas, which of course we can touch on those one-on-one. Number two, did we meet all of our notice requirements? This is especially important for subcontractors as there are a lot of Texas monthly notices that have to go out, usually starting the second or third month that work was completed and unpaid for. It just varies from project type between public, private, commercial, and things like that. But number three, if this project was on a homestead, which a lot of single owned properties in Texas, as you probably know, are considered a homestead. So if that is the case, did our GC properly execute the contract? And if you are the GC, was the contract filed with the county recorder to ensure that your lien rights are protected should you get to this point? Number four, pretty important, are we within the filing deadline? This also does change between a residential project and a commercial project. And this is going to be the 15th day of the third month on a residential project, and it's going to be the 15th day on a fourth month for commercial projects. So not to be confused with the monthly notices, that would be 1 month prior. So now that those four main points on our checklist are complete, there's going to be three major steps that we have to take to file and actually make sure that this lien is done accurately. So number one, we're going to want to fill out our Texas affidavit lien form. Texas is very specific about the form that's required to file a mechanic's lien. So we want to make sure that whatever form you're using meets the county recorder's requirements specific to where it's being filed. So we're going to fill out our lien form, got to make sure that it's completed, that all of the details are accurate. And this is all the way to tracking down certain specifics, such as legal property descriptions, job address. If there's any hidden owners or lenders involved on the projects, we want to make sure that all of this is accurate in creating a valid lien. There are a few ways that you can go about this. Sometimes it can be found in a contract if you're lucky. Sometimes contractors will get this from their sales team. Or if you're lucky and you have a good relationship, sometimes it could be as simple as a phone call to the general contractor to get the owners and lenders information. But there is often a catch, like everything in life. And whether or not doing that takes a ton of time and a ton of your resources. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Did you know that if you're just relying on other people's paperwork and other people's, I guess, due diligence to make sure the information is correct, there's still a 78% chance of having an incorrect, incomplete job information. Effectively, this can invalidate your lien rights, and that is not what we want, nor is that what we need. So whatever time spent trying to protect those payments, if it's not accurate and you're not 100% sure on it, pretty much all that work's been done for nothing and we're still unprotected. Another perk though here of doing lien rights paperwork using a software service is that it's instant project research. So the verification process is actually kind of baked into the software, if you will. As far as time saving goes, it's instant. You got to love instant, especially when time is money and we're trying to get these things done. For those of you that don't know, Level Set actually has the largest construction database globally. And since we were acquired by Procore last September, our database has really just grown exponentially. Additionally to that, about 90% of county recorders nationally report to Level Set. So not only are we able to run the documents and the information through a number of different platforms to ensure that that information is accurate and spot on, and really leaves no risk of invalidating those lien rights, but we also have a live team in office, and they're going to go over every document, whether it's a payment demand, a lien being filed, everything in between, to ensure that you guys are in the right place and that everything's protected on the jobs. So after this, what do? We have our lien paperwork filed, we're ready to go. Step two is actually filing the paperwork with the county. So once we have the correct information, we're sure everything's accurate, our lien paperwork's filled out, we have to take this to the Texas County Clerk, and we have to bring this affidavit to the county recorder in the county where the property was located that we're doing the job. So we pay the fee, we spend, hopefully not an entire day at the courthouse, we get our documents filed. Some counties, you can e-record documents like this. However, there are still a lot of counties that are somewhat in the Stone Age, if you will, and they want you to show up in person. They want to spend an entire day with you, and they want to make sure that they may or may not be advising you properly on everything that needs to be done. On the flip side, Level Set kind of takes care of all that for you guys. Again, that's really going to circle us back to the accuracy and really ensuring that the paperwork and the claims are not only filled out accurately, but we want to make sure they're filed accurately and correctly. And this is really going to be of the utmost importance for the projects. So after filing, almost done, but not quite finished, we got to make sure pretty much everybody involved gets a copy of this lien. So, probably one of the most important steps in filing a lien is sending notice not only to the general contractors, but to the property owners as well. So a certified copy of the lien affidavit has to be sent, always sent via certified mail, and it cannot be sent any later than the 5th business day after you filed with the county. So this can be done at the same time. As soon as you file, send out your notices or notify the property owners. On the flip side of that, you can send out notice prior to going to the courthouse and get everything filed. But again, this is all what Level Set takes care of for you guys. Something that we kind of touched on earlier is the monthly notices. We don't want to forget our monthly notices. So in the great state of Texas, we have something called Texas Day, which is on the 15th of each month. So on the 15th of each month, this is when all monthly notices are due across the state of Texas. And you can kind of look at this as your reminder because we're about 3 days out. Friday at 10 a.m. is the deadline for Texas monthly notices. And just to have some clarity on that, for those of you that may not be familiar with this, or maybe you've received a monthly notice in the past, it's really a crucial step, and especially for a subcontractor. And this is what is going to ensure that your lien rights are even protected in the first place. So these notices, say on a residential job, have to be sent no later than the 15th day of the 2nd month in which work was completed and went unpaid for. So you can almost look at this monthly notice as like a payment demand or a notice of intent to lien, but it's an essential step in protecting those lien rights. So a notice that's sent even 1 day late, we send it on the 16th, we think everything's good. I mean, this can basically void out lien rights altogether. It may as well not even been sent in the first place. Worst case scenario, should that happen, if you do file a mechanic's lien, it can be viewed from the court almost as a false lien. So should that happen, it can have some pretty negative repercussions. I'd say worst case scenario, I've seen subcontractors and contractors get countersued. Depending on who you're dealing with, they saw the threat of a lien, they think it's invalid, whether it is or isn't. That can be a tough road to go down should it end up in that position. So we want to make sure if Texas notices are a requirement, that we're on top of that we're sending those documents, and we're sending them before the 15th. We don't need to wait around until possibly too late to send. So steps 1 through 3 are completed. Now we've sent copies, legally served, certified mail, property owner, GC. What do? Now the waiting game can kind of begin, in a sense, if you will. So now we have a couple of steps. Typically, filing a lien, should you get to that point, is going to be enough to get the property owners to pay you. Our research internally and externally shows that majority of mechanics liens, once they get filed, they get paid, and it's usually pretty quick, and doesn't typically have any further collection or legal efforts that are needed. But basically, you'd have two options from here. If you don't get paid, you're going to have to enforce or foreclose on that lien. And option two, when you get paid, you're going to want to make sure that we get the lien released properly and timely as well. So first, we'll talk about enforcing the lien. Liens that have been filed in Texas do have a pretty long shelf life. From the deadline of filing the lien, you have 1 year to foreclose on that or enforce the lien. That time frame just recently changed at the beginning of this year in January. As you can imagine, if you enforce a lien, it does mean you're going to have to strap in to undergo pretty much a full legal proceeding in most cases. Sometimes, and especially depending on the dollar amount and what we're trying to, get paid for, we have to determine if there are enough resources and there is enough time to do this. So what are the alternatives? A pretty powerful alternative is a notice of intent to foreclose. And you can look at this document kind of as like the final warning shot, a shot that just skimmed the bow of the boat in a sense. And a notice of intent to foreclose is exactly that. Certified document essentially saying, this is your final warning. We're protected. Our rights are secured. We have lien rights. We're not playing anymore. We're going to give you 10 days to, make things right, get us the money we deserve. And if we don't get that check, we're going to be forced to, take legal action, and we're ready to do that. A lot of times, if you get to that point of notice of intent to foreclose, nobody wants to go to court. Nobody wants to pay attorneys. Nobody wants to spend time in a courtroom and have a drawn out long legal process, especially when ultimately, at the end of the day, they know they owe you this money. As of January, if a claimant on a property and the owner do agree to extend the deadline, this is also another option for you. This can simply be done by signing an agreement, has to be signed before the official foreclosure date occurs. So this would typically be like more of a one-off situation. Quick example, say you have a property owner, times are tough. We all know that. They're trying to do right. They're trying to set up payment plans with you. They've been making good faith payments, but there's still a long way to go. I'd hate to see that deadline come and go, and they know, hey, lien deadline's passed, can't foreclose on it, and then they quit answering the phone, quit making payments or whatever. So in a situation like that, that would be time to maybe consider this as an option. Let's extend the lien deadline. We'll push it out another year. We'll let you get back on track, do whatever you have to do, make ends meet, get us paid, figure it out. So those are a couple of options there for enforcing or foreclosing on the lien. Option number two, of course, once the lien is satisfied, is releasing that lien. So once a lien has been paid or the lien has been satisfied, to your standards, the lien has to be released. And this typically has to get done within 10 days of the lien being satisfied. Or another option, the property owners or GCs will send a written lien release request once the lien's been satisfied. So what do we do here? And, oftentimes homeowners, property owners, lenders, general contractors, they want that lien to be released before they make payment. Where on the opposite side of that, subcontractors and suppliers, they want to get paid before they release that lien. So ultimately, nobody wants to give up their leverage when this is all that we have left. So what do we do here? So without me giving legal advice and telling you how to operate, the most general answer that I can give is to never sign a lien release until you have the money in hand. The best thing I can compare this to is like signing over a vehicle's title before you have the cash for the vehicle, right? You're never going to sign over your title, give somebody the keys and say, okay, go put everything in your name. And I can't wait to see you next week with my $10,000 and we'll make this right. Right. It's almost like an even trade. Like I'll give you the keys and the title when you put that money in my hand, and we'll do a quick switch at the same time. And in a sense, that's how you kind of want to look at the lien release. Once you sign that release, the lien's off, the lien's gone. You don't really have anything to stand on. So it can be a somewhat slippery slope. You just want to make sure that you don't give up your leverage no matter what side you're on. So a couple of things that Level Set does to, ultimately just make these processes easier, um, in a nutshell, is going to be ensuring that all of the data and the accuracy for the lien is correct. I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but just to kind of, reiterate how important the accuracy is, something as simple as like a typo in an owner's name, somebody misidentified, maybe it's a commercial project and there's multiple LLCs or corporations that own a property that, we don't even know who they are. They never leave their lake house in Austin. We got to notify them. They got to be on this document. The property description, the address, it's property address is 1000, but we accidentally put 1001. This can really throw a stick in the spokes, to say the least. So in addition to the database that we mentioned earlier, kind of touched on our scout research team, but this is actually our probably most powerful asset and team here at Level Set. And these are, a live set of well-trained eyes that are going to go over each and every document prior to sending. And we want to make sure that, nothing goes left out, right? We want to make sure every I's dotted, every T's crossed. This is, again, everything from monthly notices to preliminary notices, all the way to lien and bond claims as well. Number two, we want to make sure that those monthly notices are sent, and they're sent on time, and they're sent when they need to be sent. So we really work with you guys to automate those monthly notices to make sure they're sent and postmarked on the 15th of each month after work was completed and unpaid, and also going to track the next steps, whether it be for payment escalation or a lien claim, should it be time to file. So number three, Level Set's going to track those deadlines and the suggested next steps. So please remember here, Level Set is an in-office tool, right? So it's cloud-based. You basically can get on anywhere you have internet, but it's going to have all of your jobs listed, all of your next steps, all of your deadlines, and it's going to give you one place to track everything. So suggested next steps, could be as simple as, hey, we're at day 15 on net 15 terms. We haven't gotten payment yet. What are we going to do? Are we going to wait another 2 weeks, or do we want to just click the mouse and send out a payment reminder? Or maybe we need to be a little more aggressive and we need to send a payment demand. Literally with the click of a mouse, you can send those documents out and make sure that you're good to go and everything's in one place. And then lastly, probably my favorite part about Level Set, and one of the most important features, is going to be Job Radar, which is going to monitor downstream flow of payment on all projects. And this is the subcontractors, suppliers, vendors, pretty much everybody involved on the job. And basically what Job Radar does is it gives you visibility into how other contractors are getting paid on projects. So this can also help you guys determine how aggressive you need to be when it does come time to escalate payment or leverage your lien rights. So say you're on a project, things have been going pretty smooth. It's time to get payments, and you've gotten a couple of notifications periodically throughout the project that, hey, we have 3 contractors that are, past 60 days on payment. One of them's filing a mechanic's lien as we speak. Maybe we don't want to wait until day 30 to send out a payment demand. Maybe we need to send that at day 15 as soon as we hit our terms. That way payment doesn't become a problem for us, as we know others on the project are already experiencing some problems. So with Job Radar, you literally get up to the minute notifications inside of the dashboard for each job. And then weekly, we will send you out an email to whoever your administrator is for the account. And it's going to have all of your projects listed and any type of ins and outs on the job, whether it's standard business like a preliminary notice or a monthly Texas monthly notice, all the way to things like liens being filed, tax liens, bankruptcies, and things like that. And it can really give you that visibility to know, hey, we don't need to wait around here. We need to get aggressive. No hard feelings. It's just business, and we need to get paid because we got bills and we got guys to pay and we got trucks to fill up with gas. So something I do like to touch on here, as well as our legal guard offerings. Some of you may be in a position already where, hey, we're at our wits' end. We've had to file a mechanics lien. We don't know what to do from here. Maybe we have a lien that's already been filed and we're a couple months into the process and nobody's answering the phone, nobody's making any response. Legal guard is a really important piece of level set, and it covers everything from proactive legal services to legal action when you guys need it, and they'll also assist you with your lien services. Proactive legal services is a pretty wide range of service, but we basically partner you with a vetted construction attorney local to you in Texas. As we all know, or as we're learning, Texas does have some pretty complex laws. So having a trusted advisor, somebody that's well informed on not only Texas lien rights, but construction as a whole, can really go a long way for you and the team. And this will cover everything from contract reviews, whether they're coming in or going out, insurance and bonding policies reviews annually, a whole lot more than that as well. Legal action when you need it basically is going to cover everything from phone consultations. I mean, you could have phone consultations with them weekly if you just want to have a chat about what's going on and maybe get some advice for filing a lien. If you need a letter written on your behalf, a payment demand goes a really long way. And I will say a payment demand written from a construction attorney with a legal letterhead can oftentimes make much more of an impact as well. So that's pretty nice. And then the lien services is basically everything from having your attorney respond to a lien that may be filed against you. We know that a lot of times if you're having payment issues, it tends to roll downhill. So, sometimes other sub-tier contractors or suppliers may get to the point where they're saying, hey, we're putting a lien on this project. You're listed, you're the hiring party. We need to know how to get around this situation. So they're going to be there for you. And then also, should you have a lien, that you need to file, they're going to make sure that everything gets recorded properly. They'll advise you on the process. They'll, take you through the foreclosure process and basically be there at your beck and call throughout everything. And, just having an attorney, I don't know if you guys have attorneys or partnerships, but definitely goes a long way. So here we go, guys. That about wraps up. I do want to touch on a couple of these FAQs. And again, I didn't really focus on that QR code, but you'll see it down here in the corner. If you do have questions, we don't have time to answer them, please feel free to scan that QR code. We'll set up a quick one-on-one presentation. But some of the frequently asked questions that I get regarding Texas, which we did cover most of this, but just to drive it home. Number one, how are notices supposed to be sent? 100% of the time, certified mail. The documents have to be legally served to the property owners and to the general contractors. So using the US Postal Service, we're going to get a tracking number. And for good measure, we're also going to send an electronic version and really just make sure that you have read receipts or delivery receipts for everything being sent. Number two, is Texas considered service when the notice is sent or received? So the requirement to send most notices in Texas is going to be fulfilled upon mailing. So as soon as we have the documents postmarked, you're going to be good to go. And that's also why we have a 10 a.m. cutoff on the 15th for our monthly notices. We wait until the last minute because should you get paid at 11:59 on the 14th, we don't want to send these documents preemptively. Or rub anybody the wrong way when you're sending out a payment demand when checks in hand. Lastly, what if I send a Texas lien notice late? And again, to drive that home, if you fail to send a required monthly notice on time, or we file our mechanics lien even one day too late, it's pretty unlikely that you'll ultimately be able to have a successful lien claim filed. Again, worst case scenario, we get a countersuit for filing a false lien, and nobody needs that. And certainly nobody wants that. So I'm going to hop in to my Q&A now. Hopefully that answered a lot of questions for you guys. And as I know it was a kind of a lot of information. We sailed right through it. But I'd like to hop on some of these questions. So I'm going to look at my Q&A box here first.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we get to the Q&A box, we had one come through chat, and I want to address that one first before we move over. That question was, if they give their clients 30 days to pay, does the clock start as soon as the project is finished or when the bill is due?
So that's a great question. I see that there too, Sean. Sorry, I missed that. Shot clock starts as soon as you finish work. So the last day on the job, whether you're providing service, labor, materials, doesn't matter. Your last day on the job, that's when the shot clock begins. We want to make sure, that you are protected. Typically, 30 days can be enough. However, depending on if it's a residential project or a commercial project, that timeline really changes because it's the 15th day of the second month after work was completed and unpaid. So, if we did any work in, July, say we do work, it doesn't matter if it's the 1st or the 25th, it doesn't matter, work was in July, we have until September 15th to get paid. So say work was completed, July 30th. So if we give them until August 30th, that's our 30-day window. Now we only have 15 days to send out our first payment demand or Texas monthly notice. So, net 30 is great. We just want to make sure that, those deadlines are tracked really as pinpoint as possible. And as soon as they go past day 30, we want to make sure that action's ready to be taken. So I hope that answered your question there, Sean, and we can certainly spend some more time discussing that in a one-on-one if you are having some payments that are, sticking out past that 30-day. Let me hop in here to my Q&A box. Let's see, our anonymous attendee notices sent out on the 15th for work completed and unpaid. Is that completion of the contract or for work completed? Okay, we already got that one answered too. Let's see, how do you extend the deadline that I just mentioned? To extend the deadline, we do have some documents on the website, and I can have those sent over for you. Kiana, she may have something too that she can send over for you. But the best thing to do, scan that QR code and try to link up, because the website does have a ton of information. I want to be able to get that kind of straight over for you. But it is a required document. It doesn't typically have to be filed with the county or anything like that, but oftentimes will need to be notarized. Let's go down a little more. Blake, why would you want to give notice before you file the lien? Great question, Blake. Part of the reason you want to give notice to file the lien, because once the lien is filed, it's a long road sometimes to get paid. So, ultimately, Blake, contracts are great. They can really help set payment expectations. They can define payment terms and guidelines. However, when you get to the end of the job or the end of the contract and payment goes past those terms, technically you've already voided the contract, right? It's breached. Now, the only way to really settle something like that is going to be in the courtroom. It's, more than just construction law at that point. It's business law, contract law. It's a legal battle. It's going to have uncertain outcomes and, be pretty costly and timely for that matter as well. Whereas, just the threat of a lien in a lot of cases can be the warning shot that you need to escalate payment and get you the check that you deserve. And sometimes it can be as simple as visibility on a project. Say you're a subcontractor and a general's not paying you. When these property owners and people in the office that never actually see a job site, they don't know who's on the job. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're doing on the project. And when they pay that general contractor, they're expecting them to make payments downstream and to have everybody settled up. So a lot of times when you send that notice and give that warning, and it goes to the property owners, it goes to the lenders, it goes to everybody up the pay chain, that can be enough sometimes in a lot of cases to leverage those lien rights and to get you that check that you deserve, or at least leverage the relationships against each other between GC and property owner. In a lot of instances, GCs are saying, oh, I haven't got a check yet. But as soon as the property owner gets that legal document and a certified letter saying, hey, if I don't get a check, I'm going to lien this property, they're going to get on the phone with you pretty quick and say, hey, we actually paid Bob's General Contracting Company. We don't know what's going on, but it's going to really help them kind of turn into your collector for you because they don't want to lien on their property. Hope that answered that for you, Blake. And let's see here. Christopher's got a couple questions. I don't know if you guys can see the questions, but it says, what if a lien is filed on time? Then additional amounts was not included yet on the filed lien and the demand letter is sent. GC still won't pay. There's a couple of different ways to go about that, Christopher. Number one, most effective would certainly be foreclosing on that lien. Number two, I'd say, did you properly send that document to the property owners? Because a lot of times when the GC still won't pay, the general contractor gets notified about the lien on the property, but the lien goes to the property. It doesn't actually go with the GC. So sometimes when a lien's filed, or even a threat or a warning is sent and it only gets sent to the GC, it's still not going to leverage or give you guys the leverage that you need. Ultimately, you have to let everybody involved know the situation. So that's what's going to ultimately escalate that payment. If they still won't pay, it may be time to talk about legal guard and getting you in that direction. Let's see, part two to your question here, Christopher. Is there a chance to amend the amount placed on the lien to add the remaining invoice if it's almost a year? Typically, no. Once the lien is filed, that's kind of it. Depending on the months that the lien was for, you may be able to file a second lien on the property or on the project. Say it was, covering everything up until this month, but then you kept working on the project for another couple of months and realized that, nothing was getting satisfied. That would constitute, in most cases, another mechanic's lien. Let me see here, Yolanda. Let's see, will I be able to get a copy of the webinar recording? Yes, ma'am, you will. We're going to send that out to you. Let's see, if you use your boss's link, they'll probably get the email, but I can send that over for you as well. Let's see, the link didn't open for 30 minutes. I'm so sorry about that. I'll make sure to catch up with you here though after, and we'll get that sent over for you. Let's see, as a general contractor, does work performed prior to any given notice deadline each month still get covered by lien rights? If I continue to work and perform other more recent work in the current notice period, in other words, is the notice period specific only for the most recent work performed? Those monthly notices do get updated every month. So if work extends past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're gonna have to start sending those notices on the 15th day of the second month. And then there's going to be a new monthly notice sent out for the third month. It's going to cover the second month, and the fourth month, which is going to cover the third month, and so on and so forth. And should you need to file a lien, you can kind of incorporate all of those into one lien document, but there will need to be a separate notice for each of them. Christopher, yes, property owner got notified. Christopher, best thing I could recommend is scan that QR code and let's have a one-on-one, because it's going to be a little more pertinent for you. I do have some info that I can share with you, but I think it would be best to do that kind of in a one-on-one setting if that's good for you, or if you can carve out a few minutes to hang out after. Steve, real quick, sorry to have missed your question there at the top. Does a constitutional lien require a written contract? So I'm going to pull over my cheat sheet for Texas because it can kind of vary. In most cases, it's almost somewhat unclear if Texas requires a written contract. A lot of times they can be just a handshake or a verbal deal, but I'm going to pull up, give me just a second. Okay, let's see. So parties who contract directly with the property owner in Texas can file a constitutional lien. There are no notice or filing requirements for a constitutional lien, but the claimants must meet specific requirements. I can go through all of those requirements, but it may be best, same thing, to have a quick one-off, or what I can do also is send a link in the chat here. I'll send it to everybody, and this is going to bring you to a Texas FAQ. So that should help you. And right under the very first section, there's going to be a link that says, are you eligible to file a mechanic's lien in Texas? That's going to have some more information about a constitutional lien for you. Let's see. I think I got most of those answered from the Q&A. I'm going to try to check through the chat here. Also too, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. I know we ran a couple of minutes over, especially with our Q&A here at the end. I know it was a lot of information to take in, but I'm going to make sure too that I have that QR code up for you. Can't suggest enough scheduling a quick call. If you guys would like to actually demo level set and how we can get through this and how we can streamline a lot of these processes to ultimately avoid filing liens to get paid, please scan that QR code. I can tailor that down to, specifically your needs and what's going to help you guys move in the right direction from here on out. Let's see, Christine, I see your question here. So we'll continue to send out notices each month, but the Panics lien cannot be filed until the 15th of the fourth month after completion of the contract. That would be correct, Christine. It's going to be the fourth month on a commercial project, and it's going to be the third month on a residential project. And don't forget, if you do like multifam housing or anything like that, apartment complexes, that's going to be considered commercial as well. Thank you, Julie. I hope you have a great day too. I'm glad you enjoyed the information. Hopefully it had some impact for you and can help you guys iron out some of these issues you might be facing. Yes, Laura, great question. Are legal guard attorneys board certified in construction law? They are all 100% board certified. Their primary and only focus is construction law. Just to be clear on that, a little bit more about legal guard. This isn't quite like LegalZoom or one of those kind of fly-by-night legal services where you call a 1-800 number. And they give you some civil attorney that, wrote your grandmother's will in 1994. These are construction attorneys. They have the information that you need. They have the backing that you need. Also, too, just to touch there, Laura, even further, they don't work exclusively for Level Set. Our legal guard attorneys have a partnership with Level Sets. We kind of go over all those details when you're ready to kind of get on board with something like that. But it's an attorney partnership. So depending on their workload, a lot of them have pretty big construction law firms. They have other cases going on, but that is their only and their primary focus, construction law. Great question, Laura. Thank you, Christopher. Glad you made it today. I look forward to talking with everybody after this. We got tons more information. I know this was kind of a broad visit today, just about filing the lien, but certainly if you're just having some payment issues and trying to get these balls rolling and get things moving in the right place, we're here for you, and we're happy to talk about some best practices and how we help thousands of other contractors with this stuff every day. I'll give this a few more minutes here, guys, see if any more questions come in. I see a couple of y'all still on the Zoom meeting here. So let's say we'll give it till 1:50 Central Time before we end this. And if you guys are trying to scan that QR code and having any issues, just raise a hand and I'll kind of go over that again. But you should just be able to open up your camera, hover over that black and white QR code there in the corner, click schedule appointment. It should bring you straight to the link, put in your info, and I'll be touching base with you here soon. Thanks, Jane. Thanks, Virginia. Hope you have a great afternoon as well. Hey, Laura, I am able to be contacted directly. If you scan that code too, I will be the one to follow up with you after. In the meantime, I'm going to put my cell phone number here in the chat and also my email address. So I will have I'll have time throughout the rest of the day today to touch base with you or reconnect. However, if you do give me a call right now, my next usually 20 to 30 minutes after this are a little hectic, as you probably can see why. But shoot me an email. You can text me. You can give me a call. If I can't answer, just leave me a message and I'll give you a call right back, Laura. My link didn't show up. So sorry about that. Let me try again. Give me a second here. Did you get it that time, Laura? If not, let's see. Oh, you can't see my email on my cell phone either. Let's see. Hopefully it's working this time. I can just verbally say it as well. My cell phone, perfect. Now you can see the link. Sorry, I must have had the wrong option selected there. There's my cell phone and email coming through now. Thanks for letting me know about that, Laura. Perfect. And I hope I'm saying it right, Laura, and not Lara. Awesome. I had a friend growing up and her name was Laura and she spelled it Lara. And I will never forget the pain that she would inflict emotionally and mentally if you called her Lara by mistake. Glad I got it right. All right, guys. Well, it's 1:50 here. Again, I know there's only a few of us left, but I want to just thank y'all again for, well, I'm glad I got it right, Laura. I just want to thank y'all again. Look forward to talking with y'all here in the future. Please feel free to reach out if we can be of assistance. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your week.